back to another Now That's Weird radio show on TV. My guest today is Paola Harris. No stranger to this show, that's for sure. Paola, welcome back.
Well, thank you. This is a new concept.
It is. It's the radio show and the TV show all rolled into one.
Well, yes, leave it to you to be so original.
I like to be different, you know me.
No.
Paola, how many conferences is this you've been to now?
Well, I think this is number 8, and my first conference, Terry Brown was alive, as you know. And the thing about this conference, which is so different from others, is that it's a family operation. I remember seeing Terry and Bob and Nikki with her baby here. So you saw babies out in the front, and you saw the families, you saw the husbands of the daughters, and you know, every year it was that kind of wonderful family feeling. And the fact that you're stuck here for almost 7 days made it not only a vacation for most people, but a very warm atmosphere to network and to talk to like-minded people.
Do you think there's been a tinge of sadness this year as it's changing ownership from next year?
Well, it's bittersweet. We call it bittersweet. It's the end of something that's a tradition and the beginning of something exciting. And hopefully the people that, you know, of open minds will take a lot of the suggestions to keep that very specialness that was the International UFO Congress, including the invitation to the Europeans to come, because as you know, there were a lot of people from Great Britain who came, and I was just with someone from Germany, and there's someone from France, and it is not just an American conference.
I think that's the whole point. It is International UFO Congress, and that's the whole point. And it is the 19th year this year, so they've run it for an awful long time. Now tell us what your own talk's going to be about this week, Paola.
Well, my own talk is kind of a thank you to the Congress. I'll begin that way, and then I'll talk about the nuts and bolts ufology, because I began, as you know, as a nuts and bolts field researcher with Dr. J. Allen Hynek, and going from that to Dr. John Mack's New World View. Now, John Mack's changing of the world view was the only way that humanity can encompass or wrap its mind around the extraterrestrial presence on Earth, the visitations and so forth. And then I'm going to end with the movie Avatar, which I'm going to examine as the psychology of how a film about a planet of peaceful people, even though they're blue, can exist in a metaphysical way in their environment, which they're not destroying, as an ideal. And the fact that more people on this planet have seen this film, more people that have seen Gone with the Wind or Titanic or any other film, shows that it must be in the mass consciousness. So all my talks are current about what's happening now, and so I'm going to talk about the past and the transition we're going to in the future view.
Now, a lot of speakers this week, as always at UFO Congress, a lot of people crammed into each day. Who stood out for you so far this week as the better speakers, the ones that have really sort of made you think?
Well, you know, I really appreciate Neil Freer's speech, and he started the whole Congress with his very wonderful wisdom. And I have not heard them speak yet, but I am very much looking forward to the talk of Travis Walton, because he's a friend of mine, and Stan Romanek. These are two contact cases, and I've got to tell you, when I began my journalistic career, I wouldn't touch contact with a 10-foot pole, because it was so weird and so unusual, and I thought everybody that had contact was crazy, that it took me some 10 or 15 years to even go there. But these two cases, the Stan Romanek case, which is new, and the Travis Walton case, which is quite old, but
34 years now, apparently.
Yes, this is a lumberjack that was taken in front of 6 of his fellow lumberjacks and disappears for 5 days and shows up 5 days later after his colleagues have been put in jail for murder.
And was the subject of a film, Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky, which was not accurate, but at least it did bring attention to the Travis Walton case. And Travis has a new book, so at least Travis has added a few chapters, he told me, to the book to talk about his case. These are the two cases, and I hope you get to speak to Stan Romanek, because that case is amazing. It not only has film footage, it has pictures, and he had surveillance cameras outside of his house. It had implants. It has hybrid children. It has robotic voices. It has the whole gamut. And he has been threatened so much. I mean, they've shot at him twice in his home, that I wish that this case comes out. Now, to wrap your mind around this case, you have to get his book, too, which documents everything from the fact that he downloads anti-gravity and zero-energy formulas, and this man is dyslexic, to the fact that he has a very heavy message for humanity as far as acknowledging the extraterrestrial presence. So you can see how far I go if I'm talking about contact. I started my whole career with military witnesses, Colonel Philip Corso, astronaut Edgar Mitchell, all the people that were military, Clifford Stone. I started with all of that, and now you hear me talking about context, so maybe I've evolved.
I think we all have. Now, I mean, as we work towards 2012, Paola, there's a lot more talk, yet again, of disclosure. Do you believe we're getting closer than ever now to disclosure of the full information?
Well, it depends on what you define as disclosure. I don't think disclosure is ever going to come from the government. I think that we are having disclosure with the courage of the people that are working in this area right now. I think we're having disclosure with all the files that are coming out of England, that has just started releasing more files. I thought they had stopped. They're releasing files with the fact that Brazil is very active, and that Stephen Bassett will be bringing two Brazilian officials to the X conference. You know, we're bringing these people under the nose of Washington. We couldn't bring more evidence forth. If we wanted to have a court case, we would have won it a long time ago. If we look at the fact